Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we are going to have a look at the Cryolator. So it's been a long time since I actually looked at the Cryolator, so I dug this out of my stash. It's been there for quite a while, and I was actually surprised by a couple of things. The damage is more than I expected, and the ammo capacity. Even though this one is quad, ammo capacity was higher than I expected as well. So this one is quad with rapid and VATS optimized. And I do put the crystallizing barrel on it, and the normal ammo capacity for a crystallizing barrel is 25. So the normal ammo capacity with the normal barrel, the standard barrel, is 50, and that's what quad uses to calculate. So it adds 150 rounds to the 25 that you get with the crystallizing barrel, and that's how we arrive at 175, which means this actually brings it into the range of using Bulletstorm. Now for the build, I had taken one for the team and follow through. Since I'm on a team by myself, taking one for the team will never trigger, but follow through still should. So we have Bulletstorm and Lock and Load, so we should be able to get up to 10 stacks, even though it may take a while. So I have Number Cruncher here. This is probably a pretty dubious value. The AP cost is only 5 on the weapon, so only getting 10% bonus damage for a 3-point card, which isn't great. However, if I were to switch it out for something to like Downranger, it'll give us a little more benefit, but in the big scheme of things, it's not a tremendous difference either way. Then we have Tormentor, bonus damage to crippled targets. Center Masochist can't always hit a weak spot, but the torso is usually a pretty easy hit, so bonus damage in those cases. And then I have the Cryologist perk. This is dealing cryo damage, so this will give us bonus there. We have Covert Operative for bonus sneak damage, because this is, even though it is a big, heavy gun, it is also silent, so you can actually do sneak damage with this quite well. Then we have Gunslinger for bonus 12% damage to weak spot. So I have Gorilla Master, which is going to give us damage to close enemies, and Gunslinger Expert, which gives us weak spot damage. Between these two cards, we can get an 8 stacks, which isn't a lot, but that's 40%, up to 40% close damage, and up to 8% weak spot damage. And then I have Adrenaline when I'm facing multiple enemies. Each enemy I kill, damage goes up by 10%, up to 10 enemies. Now I do have Limit Breaking Armor, so combine that with Luck of 16 and Critical Savvy 3, I can get a critical hit every other shot, and then better criticals will just increase the critical hit damage. I also have One Gun Army. This is a heavy gun, so this will help with the chance to stagger and extra limb damage. Although again, non-ballistic weapons just don't do very well. There is a bug currently where non-ballistic weapons just don't do very well with limb damage. So the mutations, I've got Speed Demon for faster reload speed, Herd Mentality, bonus to all my specials, Egghead, bonus intelligence, which feeds into the Cryologist perk, which is extra damage, Eagle Eyes for bonus critical damage. Got Carnivore because I do use meat-based food. Bird Bones, extra agility, which feeds into stealth and extra AP. And then Adrenal Reaction works just like Adrenaline, but it's 5% per kill instead of 10%. And then here are the foods I'm using. The big one here is the Sweet Mutant Fruit Tea for the bonus critical damage. Now, because of the way the projectiles travel on this, they kind of have this curved thing. It's very challenging to use this particular barrel with manual aim, unless the enemy is really close. It does have a fun tracking mechanism, though. I do like the fact that we get the snowballs. A little bit of a delay, so you kind of want to use this in bursts, I think. That's the best way to use it, I think. Anyway, just do it in little short bursts, because the ammo isn't super common, although I will say the drops are pretty generous, you know, with contextual ammo. I started with 10,000 rounds exactly, and I just run this a little bit, not that much. But just the looting, you tend to get back more than you're using, as long as you're firing in bursts instead of just, you know, holding down the, okay. Little close. Should be a dog right there. There we go. But you can see damage is actually pretty decent. Pretty decent numbers. There we go. And even though this is a heavy gun, it doesn't have a suppressor. It is actually a silent weapon. Let's see if I can do maybe some hip fire. Yeah, it's really hard to judge because of the arc of the snowballs that come out of this thing. All right, let's see what we could do against a Gulper. All right, not too bad. And this has decent range too. The range is 185. So, you know, it's not a super long range weapon, but it's definitely enough for most situations. All right, let's see what we could do against, let's see, not a really high hit chance. Oh, there we go. Enough. Yeah, there is a little bit of a delay. This is kind of like the Alien, the Alien Disintegrator is kind of like this as well, in terms of, I mean, it's definitely a VATS only weapon because it doesn't have any kind of sight, but it also has this kind of delay where you shoot and then you wait to see what happens. It doesn't have a super fast projectile, you know, travel speed, but still in caution. there's one right there. Let's see if I can, all right, there we go. All right, that works. Definitely hard to remember not to reload. That's always a challenging thing with Bullet Storm, but we're up to 4 stacks. It builds fairly slowly with this, just because you're not firing, because you are firing in little bursts here and there. There was something, there we go. Nice close damage there. Oh, just a gutsy this time. No sentry bot with that one. And there we go. Should be another one right here. But yeah, cryo cells. I mean, this is a typical drop. I've found that the cryo cells tend to drop in double-digit amounts. It may take 3 or 4, even 5 rounds. That one's a legendary to kill it. But you're getting back, as long as you're looting the enemies, you're getting back more ammo than you're using with this weapon, which I really like. Now, what I haven't tested yet is how much damage what the damage is like if we're not sneaking. So we're gonna try that. I mean, this is a heavy gun after all. And so it's perfectly reasonable to expect to use this, if you're in power armor, not sneaking. So it would be good to know. Let's see what kind of, all right, yeah, damage is definitely less. Feels like there's a little bit of lag going on there as well. Not just from the projectiles, but with the server. Because he seemed to have to think about what he was doing before he would take any damage. But, we're still able to kill stuff. Obviously, we're much less ammo efficient this way. But I still think you could use it this way and remain ammo positive as long as you were... Well, that's a lot more ammo, actually. Well, I think you could use this and be ammo neutral, maybe. Maybe not ammo positive, but ammo neutral, providing you are, looting the enemies as you go. So I did take this into the Guardian a couple days ago, just to see how it would do. And it basically did about what I expected, and that is terribly. The shield generator, because it is a limb, and this just doesn't do well with limb damage, it's not the right... If you're looking to solo the Guardian, it might have done okay against the Guardian itself, but against the shield generator, it was just bad. It would have taken me... I don't know if I could have done it, actually. The damage was almost not even noticeable against the shield. So, yeah, probably not the right choice of a weapon if you're looking to solo the Guardian. But for everything else, at least so far... Everything else it actually does quite well. These things are fairly tanky. And it's really fun. I mean, the one thing I do like about this is just it's so different than basically anything else. I mean, it's a gun that shoots snowballs, and it's the perfect weapon for Santa Claus roleplay. And I think if you put something like pinpointers on, I would probably go with pinpointers over... It would either be pinpointers, polished, or conductors. For boss fights, obviously conductors would be good, keep you in VATS for a really long time. But with the AP cost of only 5, I don't know that you need it. I think pinpointers would probably be the optimal choice for this particular weapon, especially if you're using it like this, where you're basically just stealthing around, hitting weak spots on enemies. I think it would just amp up the damage that much more. But I didn't put any 4-star on this. Number one, I just hadn't used it in a very long time, so I don't necessarily want to use up a 4-star mod on a weapon I may or may not want to keep using. But also, this is just a natural roll. This is one I've had in my stash, maybe a couple of years, but it's still tradable. And I'm always hesitant to take something that's, really good. And, yeah, spouts. Let's do the spouts. Last time I did against, yeah, so you can see the limb damage against the spouts. Oh, wow, I'm back here. I'm just not, I mean, look at that limb damage. It's basically non-existent. Any other ballistic weapon, and she would have been crippled, although she did die rather quickly. All right, let's see how we can do. Now, the downside about this weapon is, I basically have no chance of hitting her without VATS. Wow, this is actually, wow, okay. That went really well. I did not, okay. That actually went, that was really easy. I didn't even have, that was before I even, was even found out by any of the scorch. She went down, all right, okay, this does really well against her, as long as you're using VATS, I think. And there you have it, the Cryolator. This gun is much better than I expected it to be. I was expecting to pull it out of my stash and just put it right back in without doing anything at all. But after using it a bit, seeing the numbers on it, this thing actually works pretty well, and I think it could be viable to use as your main weapon. Obviously, the weak spot is limb damage, but that's going to be true of pretty much anything that's not a ballistic weapon. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.